The Separatist droid army is best known for its overwhelming numbers, endless ranks of battle droids marching into battle. But on the front lines of the Clone Wars, it was often their artillery that carried the day. While the Republic favored heavily armored walkers like the ATTE, the Separatists leaned into speed, mobility, and mass deployment. Their factories churned out tanks by the thousands, many of them piloted entirely by droid brains, removing the need for life support or crew protection. From sleek repulsor lift skimmers to hulking tracked juggernauts, each model had a specific role to play in the CIS war machine. Today, we're going over them all. This is every single Separatist tank explained. Armored Assault Tank. The definitive Separatist tank, the AAT, was first introduced during the Trade Federation's invasion of Naboo. It became a mainstay of the Confederacy's armored divisions throughout the Clone Wars. Its sleek, curved silhouette and floating repulsor lift design made it both instantly recognizable and feared. Designed for both intimidation and efficiency, the AAT clocked in at 9.19 meters in length and was typically crewed by 4 droids. A pilot, 2 gunners, and a commander. 6 additional droids could be carried aboard the tank, as well as 10 tons of cargo. Its main weapon was a heavy laser cannon mounted on a swiveling turret, capable of blasting through enemy armor and fortifications with ease. Secondary armaments included twin blaster cannons and side-mounted projectile launchers, perfect for anti-infantry sweeps or clearing entrenched positions. What made the AAT so impressive wasn't just its firepower, it was how easily it could be mass-produced and deployed. Its repulsor lift drive allowed it to glide over rough terrain, making it ideal for planetary invasions and urban assaults. Whether leading a column of B-1 battle droids or flanking Republic walkers, the AAT was almost always at the front of the fight. Defoliator Deployment Tank. Few Separatist weapons are as horrifying as the Defoliator. This specialized variant of the AAT was designed not to break enemy lines, but to eradicate life altogether. Developed by the Techno Union under the direction of Lock Derd, the Defoliator fired a single devastating payload, the Defoliator missile. Upon detonation, the round unleashed a rolling wave of searing plasma that incinerated all organic matter within seconds. Clones, civilians, even plant life, while leaving droids and vehicles completely unharmed. It was a weapon of pure terror, optimized for biological extermination on a large scale. Unlike standard AATs, the Defoliator tank lacked a rotating turret. Its entire frame was retooled to house and launch its specialized ordnance. In practice, this made it vulnerable to return fire, but it was never meant to slug it out in battles. Its purpose was strategic, to wipe out Republic forces with a single shot, while sparing the Separatist battle droids. Ironic, considering the Republic would also test an EMP bomb later in the war. Thankfully, the Republic destroyed the Defoliator deployment tank prototype before it could be mass-produced, but its brief appearance on Meriden revealed just how far the Separatists were willing to go in pursuit of victory. Heavy Artillery Gun. Another AAT variant, the HAGM, was one of the largest and most powerful tanks fielded by the Separatists during the Clone Wars. Less common than the AAT, but vastly more destructive, the HAGM served as a mobile siege platform, designed to bombard enemy fortifications from extreme range with overwhelming power. Supported by a heavy-duty repulsor lift system, the HAGM was essentially a floating artillery battery. Its central cannon could fire massive explosive shells over long distances, flattening Republic outposts and dug-in clone positions before infantry even made contact. Side-mounted turrets provided minimal defense against flanking troops or vehicles. As destructive as its weapons were, the HAGM also boasted heavy armor, but it wasn't very fast or nimble, leaving it open to attack from quicker Republic units. Multi-troop transport. Not technically a tank in the sense we've discussed so far, the MTT served a critical armored role for the Separatists. First seen during the invasion of Naboo, the MTT was a slow-moving behemoth designed to deliver massive numbers of B-1 battle droids directly into combat while providing heavy frontal protection. Manufactured by Bactoid Armor Workshop, the MTT rode on twin repulsor lift engines and was reinforced with thick frontal armor. It carried twin forward blaster cannons for basic offense, but its real strength was its payload, a rack system capable of deploying up to 112 B-1 battle droids in seconds. These racks could slide forward from the belly of the tank, unfolding rapidly and sending lines of droids into formation. Because it was so heavily shielded and droid-operated, the MTT could charge straight through incoming fire to deliver its troops. It was often used to punch through front lines or reinforce active combat zones with fresh units. However, it had weaknesses. No real defensive weapons on its flanks, limited mobility, and complete reliance on other vehicles to protect it during transit. Still, in large-scale engagements, the MTT embodied the Separatist strategy of quantity over all else. Heavy Artillery Gun. This is the MTT version of what the HAGM was to the AAT. The Heavy Artillery Gun was the Trade Federation's go-to long-range bombardment platform. Built on a wide, low-profile repulsor lift chassis, the HAG's most defining feature was its massive heavy projectile cannon mounted along the central spine of the vehicle. Like the HAGM, the HAG also suffered from poor speed and maneuverability, needing to anchor itself before firing its main cannon. IG-2227 Hailfire. With its massive hoop-like wheels and missile-saturated frame, the Hailfire droid was designed for one thing: delivering overwhelming firepower at blistering speed. Originally developed by the intergalactic banking clan, the Hailfire wasn't truly a tank in the traditional sense. It had no crew, no cockpit, and minimal armor. Instead, it was a fully autonomous, high-speed weapons platform that could launch a storm of self-guided rocket warheads from afar and then reposition before the enemy could respond. Its twin missile rack could carry up to 30 tracking rockets, each capable of disabling vehicles, infantry, or even walkers with pinpoint accuracy, more than enough to destroy a vulnerable ATTE. What set the Hailfire apart was its mobility. Thanks to its massive wheels and repulsor lift stabilization, it could outrun most other vehicles on the battlefield, able to speed across fields or even shallow lakes. This made it perfect for hit-and-run attacks, especially during the early stages of an assault. Its primary weakness was durability. If caught by enemy armor or Jedi before it could disengage, the Hailfire didn't last long. During battles like Geonosis and Kashyyyk, the sight of Hailfires rolling toward the Republic lines was enough to send even brave clones scrambling for cover. NRN-99 Persuader-class Droid Enforcer. Built for shock value and raw firepower, the NRN-99 was a rolling wall of guns, equal parts psychological weapon and battlefield juggernaut. Originally designed by the Corporate Alliance, the Persuader was equipped with a massive mono wheel flanked by two stabilizing tread pods. Though its design looked impractical, the configuration gave it surprising speed for its size and allowed it to traverse uneven terrain with ease. At its core was a single massive wheel, giving the tank a constant forward momentum that made it hard to slow down once in motion. The Persuader's primary weapon was a heavy twin laser cannon mounted to the front chassis, backed up by additional blasters, ion cannons, and concussion missile launchers. It was designed to charge into the thick of battle, crushing obstacles under its wheel and hammering through infantry and light vehicles alike. Used effectively during the Battle of Kashyyyk and other late war engagements, the NRN-99 was often deployed as a line breaker, clearing the way for droid infantry to follow. Super Tank. The so-called Super Tank was one of the most heavily armored vehicles the Separatists ever fielded. Though, luckily for the Republic, it existed more as an experimental prototype than a frontline asset. It appeared during the Clone Wars in a test facility on Geonosis. Unlike the sleek repulsor lift designs of the AAT or MTT, the super tank was a squat, tracked juggernaut. Its armor plating was so dense that standard Republic weaponry couldn't scratch it. The tank's main weapon was a powerful concealed twin warhead launcher that would have caused serious problems for the clones. Its design philosophy made it nearly unstoppable, but also incredibly resource-intensive. It was slow and too expensive to mass produce. After the factory on Geonosis was destroyed along with the prototype by Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee, the super tank never saw full deployment. But had the war gone on longer, mass-produced super tanks could have changed the balance of power. Ground Armored Tank. One of the earliest light combat vehicles used by the Confederacy during the Clone Wars, you'd be forgiven for never having heard of the GAT. Unlike the lumbering AAT or imposing spider droids, the GAT was built for speed, flexibility, and surgical strikes. Designed by the intergalactic banking clan, the GAT hovered on repulsor lift engines and was armed with dual laser cannons and a rack of 24 guided missiles. It was ideal for hit-and-run assaults and flanking operations. Fully automated with a droid brain, its biggest drawback was armor, or lack thereof. It relied on mobility, terrain, and surprise to survive. Finally, we'll give a brief honorable mention to Separatist artillery like the OG-9 homing spider droid and Octopura tri-droid. It's hard to classify these as tanks as opposed to walkers or just spider droid, so perhaps that will be a future video topic. But which Separatist tank is your favorite? Let me know in the comments.